Test audio. Finally, lots of problems. Sorry about that. So Chrome kept crashing. Now it's too loud outside. Hold on a second. So we wasted like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Chrome kept crashing, so we are using Safari, and then there's no sound, and now finally it's working. So good morning, guys. Good morning, George, Connie, Skyro. Uh, so we can begin. So today we are going to talk about Emacs Lisp live coding. It's gonna be condensed tutorial live coding of Emacs Lisp. And the background image, I said it before, it's Typing of the Dead. Okay, it's a video game. You can find this page if you just search for xah-icon keyboard, xah-icon Typing of the Dead. You'll find this page. Okay, so today's topic, we are going to start to code Emacs Lisp. Okay, so what do I want to do? So write a command so that 2 lines of file path, 1 HTML file path and 1 image file path will become linked with an icon. So let me show you what I want to do. Okay, so you can see okay, so wait, let me start command log mod. Start command log mod, so you can see all my Emacs commands and keys on the pink window. Okay, so so we have 2 lines of code here. What I want is let me show you what I want to do. Okay, so these 2 lines of code, I want linkify, so it becomes a link here, and this image also linkify. This is the image tag, and move that here and add a break and add the div. Okay, so I want to write a command that transform these 2 lines file path into this. So what does it looks like in browser? Let me show you. Okay, show in browser. So you can see, so before it was just 2 lines of file path, but now it becomes, you know, a iconized link. So you can click on that, then you go to the page of this link. You see, I'm writing a lot of blogs, so that's why I want this kind of for example, you go here, you see all these icons. They are done that way. So back to here. So I want to turn 2 lines of file path into a hold on a second. Copy that 2 lines of file path like that into this. Okay, so what this looks like is basically, so you have a link, HTML link, starting here and ends here, and in between you have a image file link. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's define, let's do this quickly. Emacs Lisp. Okay, let's open a new empty buffer and define a function. That's right, define a function. So let's call the command xah-icon-linkify. Okay, given 2 lines of file path under cursor, make them into a link with image. Okay, so for example, let's see. So version, today's date, let's put today's date as a version name. So for example, 2 file path. For example, this becomes like that. Okay, now this is the Emacs Lisp doc string. So you can see, so these double quotes, you need to escape them. So I have a command called xah-escape quotes. Okay, you call that, it will add a backslash in front of these quotes. Okay, so that's a command documentation. So let's begin to write it. So first of all, let's go back to, let's open a new buffer, go to the talk show, open today's talk show. So what we're gonna do is we are given a lines like that, we want to, okay, so I have to think. So first of all, we want to make this a link. So the first line should be the file path of a HTML file. The second line should be a image file path. Okay, so let's let's do this quickly because there's a lot to code. Now, questions and comments posted. Okay, you're good now. Microphone working. Okay, good. So let's go back to the code. So let's begin code. Okay, so first of all, let's copy the code here, the file path. So assume the cursor is on the first line file path. So first of all, file, let's say HTML path. Okay, image path, that's two variables. We declare local variables. So let's set HTML path is going to be thing at point. Okay, thing at point, thing at point, wait, let's see, bounds of thing at point, bounds of thing at point. So that's gonna be, wait, it's thing at point again. So this is gonna be file name. Okay, so this line will return a console of two elements. That's a beginning position and end position. Okay, so let's say P1, P2, P3, P4. Those are variables for positions. They store an integer of the cursor position. So and say, let's say boundary, let's say bounds 1, boundary 1, boundary 2. Okay, so set set boundary 1 equals to that file name. So that will return the beginning position and end position of the file name. Then set position 1 to be the car of boundary 1. So that's the beginning of the file path position. P2 will be cadre boundary 1. Okay, so that part gets you the beginning and end positions of the file path, HTML file path. We set it to P1 and P2. Now we have to now we can set the HTML path. That will be just substring no properties. Okay, substring no properties, and gives two positions, P1, P2. So this part will grab the string between those two positions and set it to HTML path. So that we have done. Now now we can delete region position 1, position 2. You know, delete that file path because now we already set it here. Now the second thing to do is okay, now we want to deal with the image path. So we got the first path, the file path. Then we move cursor to the right 1 character. So forward char 1, basically move to the next line. Let's say forward word. Okay, forward word 1. Okay, then we do the same thing. We basically do the same thing for the image file path. So boundary 2, bounds of thing at point, file name, that's right. Then position 3, boundary 2. Then position 4, set it to boundary 2, cadre boundary 2. Then here will be the image path. Okay, then here will be P3 P4. Okay, then delete the region P3 P4, delete that image file path. Okay, so far so good. Shrink, prettify the code, we don't need this part. Evaluate the code. So we have icon-linkify, we have that. Let's run it. So copy that, paste it here. Then we put the cursor on the first line. So we put the cursor. So we put cursor on the first line here, anywhere in the line. So call the command icon-linkify. Okay, call it. It just deletes them. That is expected. Undo. Okay, so far so good. This is interactive coding. We have checked so far our code is correct, so we don't have to, so later on when we have do more complex things, we know at least so far this part is good. So far so good. Anyone? Everything is good. Let's double check my voice. The idiocy of me. My voice check, my video check. Okay. So we got the image path, we got the file path. What do you want to do? You want to linkify them. So we want to make the first line into a link. Okay, so basically we want to recreate this part. Okay, we want to recreate this part. Okay, so back to the code, split the buffer, open a new buffer, paste it here. So we have kind of a reference. Now this file path is too long, so let's shrink it, because just for sample code, we don't need all these complex looking thing. Okay, so now it's much more clear. You see, the structure is much more clear. This is what we want to insert into the buffer. Okay, so now it's pretty easy. So we just insert it. Okay, so insert. Why don't we copy the whole thing here? So we just we insert, first of all, insert the div, then insert so to code this properly actually is a bit more complex, but let's do the simplified version first. Okay, so let's just do the simplified version, then we'll improve it. So insert, then we now insert the href so far so good. So then the file path, then insert HTML path, then insert the closing tag, then insert. Okay, so there's quite a lot to do. You see, first of all, we are trying to insert the link. Let me show you. Okay, first of all, we are trying to insert a link like that. It looks simple, but actually there's quite a lot, because, for example, where do you get that that text description? Where do you get that? Well, the way I get it is that this text description actually came from the title tag of the linked file. So what you actually have to do is you open the file, find the title tag, grab the title text, then put that here. So it's a bit complex, but for now let's just say dummy. Okay, let's say title text. Actually, let's just say the file path. Okay, so insert the file path as the text description for the link. Okay, then we insert the closing tag, of course. Now and now we insert the end div tag. Now in between here, you need to insert the image file path. So okay, let's do that again. Okay, so insert okay, so insert that, and also insert, we don't need to worry about that. Width, you see, another issue is how do you get the width and height? Now that's also a bit involved, but let's do the simplified version first. Okay, let's insert here that, and actually that. Okay, then one thing at a time. Okay, so then in between, so here this part is the image link. In between, you need the image file path. So insert image path. Okay, so that's essentially what the code looks like. Let's prettify it. Okay, and remember, these images needs to be in between. Let's cut it. It needs to be in between these. You know, it needs to be inside the file link. So actually somewhere here. So you need to add a bracket. I mean, not bracket. Add a new line there. Eval buffer. Okay, let's try our code. Let's do as we go. Okay, so back to the HTML page. So these are the two lines, file path and image path. Put the cursor on the first line. Call the command xah-icon-linkify. Do it. Fantastic. It seems to work, but however, we are missing something. We are missing a quote here because the color is not right. So undo, back to our code. We're missing a double quote here. Indeed. So backslash quote. That's right. Eval buffer. Back to HTML. Call it again. Do it. Fantastic. You see, fantastic. Okay, let's do it. Show in browser. You see, here is our code. Okay, let me redo this again. So let's remove all the existing ones. Okay, show in browser. Okay, that's how it looks like. Now you see the two lines are here. Now we are going to call our command icon-linkify. Do it. Back to browser, refresh. Fantastic. Now it's it's working. Now, so there are quite a few things to fix. For example, the link text, that's too long. We really just need you know, we need to open the file. We need the title. We need a short. You know, we don't want the full path there. So far so good. So okay, so we need to do this actually. So there's another task that will be more interesting. Okay, so let me finish this. So what do we want to do now? First of all, this break, I want a line return there. So let's add a line return. Okay, line return, eval buffer. Okay, and now the link text, this link text we need to fix. We need the title of the page. So let's go back to the code. How do you get the title of the page? So we need to grab the title of the page. So let's say link text declare a new variable link text, okay, and we are going to set the link text here. Set link text, okay. So how do we do? What should be the value of link text? So first of all, we find file. Find file will open the file. Actually, find file will do it. Okay, let's just press on. Let's do this. So find file, HTML path, HTML path. So that will open the file. Then go to buffer minimum. Go to char buffer point minimum. So that will go to the beginning of the buffer. Then search for word. Okay, search for word. What do you want to search? You want to search the title tag. Okay. Okay, bound, no arrow. Let's remove that. We don't need. Search for title. Okay, then we need to set position. We want that position to be marked. So let's add more variables. Title plus 1. Title plus 2. Okay. So here set title position 1 to be point, the current location of the cursor. Okay. Then we need to search for word. This time we need the end brackets. We go to the end of the title tag. Okay, and ignore all the arguments. Then we search backward to the less than sign. Why? Because we want it in between the title tags. We want the position to be in between the title tags, so we can grab them. Grab the text in between. So set title position 2. Okay, now we are ready to grab the text. What you do is you set q link text to be buffer substring no properties, and given 2 positions. So the positions will be title position 1 and 2. Okay, prettify the code. Actually wait, so we need a, you see, we are already trying to set it, so the rest of code here should be return a value. So we don't want that part. We want this. We want buffer substring no properties, and this whole block of code needs to be inside a program grouping like that. Okay, so set link text to whatever this code returns. Okay, buffer substrings no properties. Then you gonna close file. Okay, kill buffer. Okay, like that. You see, because we opened file here with that find file, then we did something, then we are done with that file. We just close it. And now for the link text, we will just say title text. We will just say link text, right? Okay. Eval buffer. Go back to our HTML and undo. So let's start afresh. Okay, so these are 2 lines of file path showing browser, so they don't look, they don't look nothing special. back to Emacs, put the cursor on the first line, call out command, go do it, error, wrong number of arguments, set q1. Okay, wrong number of arguments, set q1. Okay, so let's look at the problem. Back to so somewhere here we have wrong number of arguments. What is the wrong number of arguments, set q1? So somewhere set q is incorrect here. You see, set q title position 2, you need a value. You know that, so that's a problem. Eval buffer, back to our code. So showing browser, nothing special. Back to Emacs, put the cursor on the first file path, call the command, do it. Fantastic, showing browser. Fantastic. Now you can see we got the title there. Okay, but that's not all. There are a few more things to fix, because you see, let me show you. There are a couple of things we need to fix. You see the file path here, that's a full path. That's a full path. That's no good, because once you upload your website to the to the web server, you don't have the full path. All you have is the root of your directory. You cannot access outside of the root directory. So you want a relative path instead. Okay, so actually we end up doing lots of things. So let's declare more variables. Relative HTML path. Okay, let's kind of prettify all these. So we need a relative HTML path, and we need a relative image path. Okay. Now, by the way, if you are wondering why do I declare so many variables, because I don't want to reuse them, because that's part of functional programming. If you do functional programming, there are certain advantages, and one of the things you want to avoid is to have a mutable variable. So to do functional programming, one of the things you do is that you never change the value of a variable. Once you have a variable, it has a value, it just always that value. So when you need a new you just use new variables instead of changing values of the same variable. Okay, so we need a relative HTML path and relative image path. Okay, so how do we get that? Let's copy that. Let's set them. Okay, so first of all, let's do relative HTML path. Set relative HTML path. That'll be, so there's a function in Emacs Lisp that takes a full path and returns a relative path. Okay, so what is that function? I don't remember. So the easiest way is just to look at my tutorial. So you search for xah Emacs tutorial. So you go to practical Emacs Lisp, then you go to there's a section file and directory functions. So make directory, directory files, delete directory, copy directory, file name sans extension, file name extension, file relative name. There it is. That's the function you want. Back to Emacs, back to our code. So file relative name. There it is. That's our function. So here you give the full path. Okay, that's how you do it. But actually, the file relative path takes two arguments, one full path and one directory. So the relative path will be generated with respect to the directory. For example, we call describe function and magnify. You can see it says so. Okay, so the second argument directory is optional. So if you don't give the second argument, it will be just relative to the current directory, I think. Yeah, which is the current file. So in this case, the current directory, so that will be, let me show you. Okay, so we are back in our wait, where are we? Okay, so undo. So show in browser. So this is the talk show page. So you see that's the two file path. So when you call this command, the current directory, the value of the current directory is going to be this file. That is whatever directory this file is in when user calls the command. So that means in our Emacs Lisp code here, the directory path is already correct. We don't need to give it because it's relative to that web page. Okay, so here is the setting of the file relative path, and we need to do the same thing for image path. Okay, do exactly the same thing. Okay, now prettify the code. So that's the relative path. So now instead of inserting the full path, we want to insert the relative path. That's right. And same thing for the image part. So instead of inserting the image path, insert the relative image path. Okay, eval buffer, back to our HTML code, put the cursor on the first line, call the command, do it. Fantastic. Look, that's a relative path. And look at this one, that's also a relative path, and they are correct. Show in browser, you can see it works. Okay, so we are almost done. But there's one more thing. There are actually two more things. Now you can see in this image, let's magnify. Okay, let me show you the glory of the full buffer. So you can see here is an image link. Now, do you notice something odd? Now, if you code in HTML, then it's recommended that you have the alt tag. So okay, hold on a second. So it's recommended. Here's the file path. It's recommended you have this alt. Wait. Here, that gives a textual description of what image that is, supposedly for the blind. So we'll say Surface Book Keyboard. You see, you need to add that, the alt tag. And also, typically, you also want width and height. Why do you need that? Because when browser reads the image tag, when it sees width and height, it kind of speed up the rendering because it has some idea of what's the size of your image. By the way, you can show the image in Emacs. Just click on that. I mean, just press return. Well, because I'm using xah-icon-linkify mod. So anyway, what we need to do is add the alt and the width and height. Okay, height. Alan always correct me. It should be pronounced height, not hate. Oh, thank you guys. Alan is here. Scott and Alan and George. Oh, fantastic. Thank you guys for the money. That makes me happy. So now our problem, we basically done with the code, but now we want to do some touch up. We want the alt tag. It's kind of annoying, the alt tag, and also we want the width and height. Now the alt tag is a bit problematic because it involves the decision of what exactly you want to put the alt tag, because typically for image, it requires certain imagination. For this one, a Microsoft keyboard, it's easy. You can just say a keyboard. But often when you have a photo of your food, of your, let's say a photo of your cat. You could say the description could say my cat, or it could say cat, or it could say George's cat, or it could say my home, because maybe the cat is in your home, showing your home. So the description is kind of arbitrary, and it involves some thinking to describe it, and there may not necessarily be there's no mechanical way to do it unless your image file name is very descriptive. So that's about how do you do the alt tag. We have to, let's go back to our code. So if we want to add a alt tag, we have to say somewhere here. I mean, the main problem will be what you're gonna decide. What do you want to say? So typically, what I do, let me show you what I do. Okay, typically, then I'm going to read the questions. Alan says, "Hi and buddy, toil and moil." Yes, toil and moil in Emacs Lisp for the past 15 years. And Scott says, "Have a good Labor Day weekend." Labor Day is coming up. I didn't know. And George says, "Please enjoy some rich man's food." Thank you, guys. Anything? Are there any questions? Any other questions? There will be a xah stream. Hi guys, good morning. Good morning, Scott. Okay, so let's back to the code. So we need to. So normally, what I do is that, you see, once you have an image file. So let's copy the image file. So here's the image file. It's not full screen. Okay, so here's the image file. So typically what I do is you remove the directory name. Okay, remove the directory name, so you just have the image file name. Then you remove all the underscore and dash. Okay, so there's no underscore and dash. Then you remove the extension, the JPEG. So what you get is basically kind of a transformed file name. Can we do that? Shall we do that? That's a lot more coding. 5 minutes to do that. Okay, so that part is the old part. Then there's the more complex part of image width and height. How do you do that? Blue collar web dev laborers unite. Did Chrome crash? Yes, Chrome crashed again. So we are using Safari, Apple Safari. Why do you still use closing HTML tags? So Scott, have you had any thoughts on the experiments where Emacs Lisp gets compiled into native binary instead of the ELC byte compile code? Yeah, so that's a new feature in the coming version of Emacs 28, where the Emacs Lisp code is compiled natively. So that means it should be much faster. There's a branch, those of you adventurers can try that, especially on Linux, you can do that. But you can do that today. But I asked people. I was in. So there was a Emacs meetup online, run by. If you search for Emacs meetup SF, that's hosted by Emacs meetup San Francisco, but it's an online meetup. It's hosted by Jeff. It's because I was in that conference for the past 2 times. So I asked people there, there are some Emacs, heavy Emacs users, whether the native Emacs version is much faster or not. Well, their response is, well, yeah, it's faster, but it's barely noticeable. So, that's a case. If you are going to sort 10,000 things in Emacs, yeah, then you will notice a speed increase. But for average Emacs, using, the impression I get from him is that it's pretty much the same. So anyway, so back to the code. So we're gonna do back to the code, I guess. How long have I been talking? So let's see. Let's check how long have I been talking. 46 minutes. Oh God. So I guess we finish this. Then 15 minutes. Then that'll be it for today. But actually, there's another interesting thing I wanted to do. That is, the interesting thing is that I want to display HR as a line. I know how to do it now because yesterday I learned a tip from Jeff from the Emacs SF meetup online. So we can code that. Well, next time. Okay. So right now let's go back to code the alt tag. So let's add the alt tag. Okay. So image tag, then relative image file path. Then we want to add alt here. Okay. So alt equals to let's insert a new thing. Right. Insert alt equals to equal double quote. Okay. Then we're gonna insert again closing quote and space. So, and in between is gonna be the alt text. Okay, alt text, image alt text. Okay, but where is our image alt text? We don't have it yet. Let's generate it. Okay, so back to the variables. Let's add a image alt text here. Okay, then we're gonna set it somewhere here. So link text relative path. So let's set it here. Image alt text. So how you gonna do? So let's do it. Set image alt text program. So what you're gonna do? You're gonna get the file name from the image file name from the file full path. Okay, so there's a function. Now back to our Emacs Lisp tutorial. There is a file. Let's say you see. So there are these file name directory, file name none directory. Yeah, that's the one we want. File name none directory. Remove the directory name. So file name none directory. Okay. File name none directory. File name in none directory. So this will be image path. Okay. So get rid of the directory part and also get rid of the extension. So we need file name sans extension. Okay. Then so what that returns is the file name of the image file without the extension. One more thing we need to do. We need to change the underscore and dash to space. But let's not worry about that for now. Okay, prettify the code. Prettify. Okay, so that's image alt text. So okay, so eval the buffer. Back to our file here. Now you can see here are the two lines shown in browser. Okay, back to Emacs. Now delete that. Back to browser. Refresh. So we have the two lines here. Now back to Emacs, the two lines here. So now we're gonna call the command, put the cursor there, call the command xah-icon-linkify. Please let it work. Okay, it works. There's some problems. Okay, I misplaced the insertion. You see, because yeah. So undo. Let's fix it. So it's adding the old. Yeah. So the old doesn't belong here. Wait. Okay. So actually, I know what to do. So actually, so this part will be so after we insert the image relative file path, we need to close the quote for the file path. Then we need to add the alt tag here. Then we add the end tag for the image tag, right? Yeah. Eval buffer, let's just do it. Call the command, do it. Looks like fantastic. Now we need a space here, okay? We need a space before the alt. So back to the code, we need a space before the alt. Eval buffer, back to here, undo, call it, do it. Fantastic. Now this looks like what we want. So here is the image part, and here is the alt tag. Fantastic. Now back to browser, show it. Okay, good. Now one last thing. Now the width and height of the thing, of the image tag. So far so good. Questions? So let's look at the questions. It actually took an hour today, so Safari is more efficient. No, Safari is not more efficient. Well, are you sure? I'm not sure about that. Well, it may be more efficient, but Safari kind of sucks. Less electricity, excellent. Have 1,000 can help as well. Have a house plant can help. I'm now an urban pea farmer. Okay. Okay, so back to our code. So the last part is to add the width and height. The core issue is how do you find the width and height of a image file? Okay, that is the main question. But before we do that, I'm thinking maybe we should push on with that or simplify our code first, because now our code is kind of ugly. Because you see all these inserts, they can be, you can use a format that makes them more elegant and easier to read and easier to understand. Okay, so either we clean up the code or we start to explain how do you insert the width and height. Let's explain. Okay, so the problem now is given a image file path. For example, let's say undo. So here is the image file path. Given a image file path, how do you in Emacs Lisp find out the width and height of the image dimension? Okay, I don't know offhand, but I have written a code to do that, like almost 10 years ago. So let's look at our code. Okay, so you just go to describe key space H. Then that is my shortcut key to xah-icon-linkify mod. You can see here. So we move cursor here, enter, then you go to the source code. So here is the source code of xah-icon-linkify mod, and there is a code to linkify. Most of the things we did today is already written. I've written them like tens of times. And so most of the code is already here. I'm doing it again in live, because so that I can demonstrate how it's done. So there's a code here that's image linkify. So if we search for example, list matching lines, okay, let's say list matching lines less than sign img space, then you can see here is all the code. I mean the lines containing that. So we have quite a few lines that deal with image files. Okay, but let's say define. Okay, let's list matching lines. Let's list all define functions in our file. So then search for image img. Wait, let's search for img. Oh, let's search for imag. Okay, there it is. xah-html get image dimensions. That returns the width and height. Okay, so go to there. So here is our code. Is our code. So I guess I'm not going to actually code this here, because it's already written. But instead, I'm just going to explain how do you do this. How do you get the width and height? So what you do is, let's see. Okay, here is a part. Okay, so the there's a condition here. Now in the condition, the first one is to check if it's a SVG file. SVG file is different from JPEG or PNG files. SVG is a text file. It's a XML file. So if it's SVG image, you can find out the width and height by actually opening the file and just search for the word width. Typically that will have results. I mean, if it you just do that. But if it's a binary file, if it's a a PNG file or a JPEG file, what you do, here's what you do. Okay, so you set yeah, so here's a code. I don't remember exactly, but basically there are some Emacs functions in Emacs Lisp that lets you do that. So let's see. Set q. So x and y is a width and height pair. So we declare xy to be a local variable. Then we're gonna set them here. So what does the code do? So you first of all you call the image size. Okay, so image size is a function that returns the const pair that contains the width and height. Okay, then the argument to image size is a create image. Yeah, so you can use create image and give it a file name, basically a file path, and Emacs will recreate the image internally. Then once you have an image, you feed that to image size, then it will return a const cell containing the width and height. Okay, so that's how you get the width and height. So actually we can actually try it. So let's just gonna try it. So for example, okay, so that's how simple it is. So let's go back to the talk show. Okay, let's get an image file path, for example this one. Okay, copy the file path back to here, paste the file path here, so you can see. Let's maybe prettify. Yeah, it's kind of because my file path is super long. Okay, so so now what we do is we call Control U eval last sixth. So you see, that's a return value, 289217 pixels. That's how you get it. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. I think that's it for today. How long have I been talking? 1 hour and 1 minute. Just the right time to close. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you, Alan, George, Scott. And if you like my Emacs Lisp tutorial, go buy it. Okay, Emacs Lisp tutorial, fantastic. Where is it? Here. Okay, just search for Emacs Lisp tutorial and keyboard, fantastic stuff. And run. Bye, guys.